So what you're doing is you have the keyword plus, you have Detroit plus, you have your name plus, you got your brand in the first 10 seconds. And that's the 50 minutes, y'all believe. But that seriously, in and of itself, will save you not only time, but will get you ranked and get you searched. So let's go ahead and get into it. One of the challenges that I find realtors face daily is just the time. Right? I kind of mentioned this before with noise and things that are always happening, but we can never find the time. I know for me, on the flip side of the coin, as an investor, I can never find the time in my day to actually do things that I want to do. Whether it's work, whether it's wifey time, whether it's I need to work out, whether it's play racquetball, things come up. And so time becomes a really major factor. And sometimes an impossible hurdle. I like this word squeaky. The squeakiest tool in the shed gets the most attention. The same thing with our brands, and the same thing with audio, the same thing with voice. The more that we speak with people, the more likelihood, the higher the likelihood that we will draw attention to ourselves for one specific purpose, and that's leads. I love talking about the concept of getting more leads. And in today's world, we're either irrelevant or we're immortal. The question is, how can we get across a message to an audience and do it consistently by using audio? And either by hosting our own podcast or being a guest on a regular basis on others. So the squeakiest tool in the shed gets the most attention. Yes, okay. So I have like a few more slides, but that one I want to show you. And let's see, I'm going to scroll down to here. Nope. Audio funnel, sweet. So here's how this works. The optimal time for some of these things, we're seeing, if you want to have a really quick conversation, you want to start with maybe like 14 minutes. The thing though is, if you're starting a podcast that's new, nobody's going to know who you are, and they won't be willing to trust you yet, so it makes sense to have like a 1-minute podcast. It's an audio funnel, right? Think of it as a marketing funnel. And you want to just talk really fast in the podcast, just to make it kind of funny and quirky. Hey, my name is Avi Ballhard. I'm talking about real estate investing in Atlanta. And let me tell you something, it's not only a hot market to invest in, but it's also hot Atlanta. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you the one thing that you need to know about Atlanta real estate. It's going to be 30 seconds, and it starts right now. And then bang the table with somebody so they hear that in the microphone, so the microphone catches that vibration. And then just riff on your market for maybe 30 seconds or a minute, and publish that as a podcast. The other thing that you can do is, if we have a conversation during like the break, and there's noise around, let's just record the conversation for a second. And that in and of itself can be a 45-second podcast or a 2-minute podcast if the content is good. If the content isn't good, like, the Lions, then nobody's going to listen to them. Okay? So you want to go.
So, 2 quick ones. You said that microphone. So you actually need 2 microphones because you're using one, your guest is using one?
Your guest is generally going to be virtual.
Okay.
Unless you plan on doing a lot of in-person interviews.
Okay, so you're doing phone interviews with your guest.
Yes, and the software you can use for that, I love using Zencaster. Zencaster.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is they'll link up using their microphone. You link up using your microphone. You can hear them because you have the headset and the earphones. Yes, they have to have a microphone. But they don't need this one. They can use like a Bluetooth headphone. They can use a wired headphone. Usually wired headphones are generally the best.
Okay.
You got it.
Can they use their phone?
They can use their phone. Absolutely.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
So kind of connecting